Quick pre-work video. I woke up early, so I watched a movie that I had on that had been on TCM a few days ago that I wanted to watch. That was really short. It's from 1940. It's 66 minutes long. It's called One Crowded Night. The one sentence thing was like a bunch of strangers at a isolated California motel go through a lot of issues, and I was like, okay, well, as a Californian, I like, it's a law that you watch all movies set in isolated California hotels. Like, that's just, you have to. So had a huge cast. Billy Seward, William Hadd, Charles Lang, Adele Pierce, Paul Guilfoyle, Gale Storm, Emma Dunn, and my favorite, Anne Revere. So they're in this hotel. They're in this motel in the middle of nowhere. A bus stops there. Most of them run the lunch counter, but there's also the motel. And people come in. They have 10 minutes to eat their hamburgers and get the hell out. And then as the first bus shows up, you get a little bit about each of the people. The girl who's working behind the hamburgers, who just wants to have a 4-week vacation and drink soda at the beach. And the woman played by Anne Revere, who someone recognizes her from her old town, and you find out that she, while she was pregnant, her husband may have robbed a bank and went to jail, and so now she has a 4-year-old son that has never met his father, and that's going to come back. And then I think it's Gale Storm is got a boyfriend, and then she's going to run off with him, but then it turns out that she's also like used to be a gangster's mom maybe, and so eventually the gangsters show up. A pregnant woman shows up who was on her way to surprise her husband, but she passed out, and so she has to stay the night. The gangsters show up with the husband, except that he's not actually a bad guy. These gangsters also happen to be the people who set up the husband that was in jail, who has also broken out of jail. So somehow they've all ended up in this motel, because this is that kind of movie. Except that most of them, they're in different rooms, so it's a motor hotel, so they're on all these different rooms, and they don't know they're all there. And then eventually, obviously, they all collide, and will the husband who escaped from jail clear his name? Will the pregnant woman die from having a baby? Will she meet her husband again? Will Gale Storm get to stop being a gangster's mom and marry the man that she loves? Will the other girl get to leave? Will the patent medicine man actually make a sale, or just be drunk the whole time? Who knows? It was fun, had a nice sort of bit of comedy to it, but was mostly a drama. I think it probably resonated better in 1940, and probably people enjoyed these stars a lot more. Like Gale Storm and Anne Revere were really the only people that I was like, I know them and I enjoy them, and everyone else I was like, I don't know who this is, so it was hard to get into it. It's definitely one of those films that fits along that sort of not quite kidnapped, but like held hostage. It's one of those, like, it fits in one of those hostage films. There's a great one I watched during Noirvember last year that I am forgetting the name of. It's like 66 Minutes or something like that is the name of that one. That one's really good. Obviously, you have The Petrified Forest. This felt a lot like Petrified Forest. Key Largo, some of those others that have this history of like isolated places, good people living in isolated places that end up in extraordinary circumstances. I'm sure there's more of those films, and so it's not really a theme that you see in movies too much today. Be interesting to make a sort of a older version of that, or a newer version of that. But anyways, this was Irving Reis's, Reis's One Crowded Night from 1940, and it's still on Watch TCM.